everyone. Welcome to another episode of our Secure Dental Podcast, where we bring in many different talents from both inside and outside our dental industry. And today we have a very, very special guest. I call him the legend, the GOAT, Scott Manning. So Scott has been in this dental world for a long, long time. He spent decades helping many dentists. Without taking away the thunder, I will just pass the mic off to him and let him do the intro because this guy pretty much needs no introduction. So Scott, welcome. Thank you for being here. And the floor is yours.
Dr. Lou, first of all, listen, it's an honor to be here, okay? Thank you so much for having me. And, I think more importantly, thank you for being on the cutting edge of all things in our dental industry, representing doctors, prosperity, and the ultimate opportunity that we have in what you and I both believe is the greatest profession on earth. So, you're the expert, you're the doctor. I don't know, I would say GOAT, I'm sure maybe with 4 legs, but maybe not 4 letters. But the deal is this: I've always been a champion of what I call my life athletes, which are doctors. At the end of the day, Dr. Lou, you know better than anybody that a doctor is a servant. They give all they've got to other people, usually at the neglect, at the sacrifice, at the compromise of themselves. And so my responsibility is much like you used an analogy of a sports analogy, of being an agent to the doctor and a protector and helping them put themselves first in terms of their health, their wealth, their time, and aligning the mission, the philosophy, the direction of their career in a way that is helping deliver on their goals and objectives too.
Sure.
Most people are not like you, my friend. You already know. They don't see the crystal ball. They don't plan anything more than tomorrow. Okay? And so what a lot of doctors need is perspective on their own life so that they realize that they're investing and building their future while they are earning the income of today. So that's it. Yeah, I've been doing it for 22 years. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I sort of, lucked into dentistry. My first professional client was a dentist. He was a martial artist, same as me. We hit it off and became great friends. In the early 2000s, we were doing smile makeovers from coast to coast, licensing, marketing programs to private practice people back before there was not even a single online marketing company in the world.
Right.
And we were doing good old fashioned postcard marketing, still the best way to go direct to consumer today. And then from there, 2007, 2008 happened. We all understand the rise of organized dentistry. There's some people doing it right. I'm looking at a guy, who is doing the best balancing act between private practice principles and structured, organized.
I'm still learning, Scott. I'm still learning.
Yeah, you're learning, but that's because you're humble. But, at the same time, find somebody who's getting it right the way you're addressing the needs of all constituents. So the long story short, at this moment in time is when I wrote my first book. I saw, doctors basically succumbing to the market, to this temporary, which they all are, temporary economic circumstances, and, giving into insurance, watering down the integrity of the healthcare standard of excellence that private practice has. So, I wrote the book, The Dental Practice Shift, and, what can I say? One thing's led to another. But I really appreciate what you're doing, and you're giving doctors a voice, a source of inspiration, of education, and they're getting it from somebody who is not just a preacher, but a practitioner of everything that you say.
One of the things I learned really early on with my mentor was listen to those who are actually doing it. And I want to be that prime example. And I love what you're doing too. So with this dental success today, I'm sure everybody have seen some sort, shape, form. What was a driving force? I know you were an entrepreneur at heart and you really wanted to help dentists out. But when you came up with this idea at that time, what was the driving force behind it?
Yeah, look, thank you so much. Well, I'll give you a couple analogies, and then I'll tell you the story, the catalyst. Everybody has a moment. There's a moment. Some people are oblivious to it when it happens, and other people, it hits them in the face. And so I will tell you, number one is anyone can look forward to something. They can look forward to a vacation, a birthday, their kids graduating, anybody can look forward to something. It takes a master to look forward to every day. And at the
Wow.
end, we called it dental success today because that's exactly what I mean. I want every day to be a win, to be a victory. And a lot of times, people, it's like, I never forgot one of the first mantras I heard from Tony Robbins was, he gives this big sort of humiliating story about how everybody looks forward to Friday. It's like, what happened to the other days? So that was one of the reasons why I believe, and we call it win the day. Our success system is about winning the day. So the second, though, and it's very important, is that I understand, because I'm a business person, that you can have a great restaurant with no customers and it doesn't matter. You can also have a really shitty restaurant with lots of customers, and that's kind of a problem too. So in dentistry, we have to master the inside. Okay, our industry since the beginning of time has said all you need to be successful, Dr. Lou, is just a lot of patience. Okay, and that's perhaps the furthest thing from the truth, actually. So what I always say, if you want a lot of patience, go somewhere else. If you want a lot of dentistry, if you want a lot of impact, if you want to make a difference on the people who walk through your door, that's what I'm about. Because nobody cares how many yards the quarterback threw for. They only care how many games they won. And so in dentistry, driving complete health, case acceptance is the only way to truly be of service to people. And so dental success was born out of giving it a win for all people involved. Truly comprehensive for patients, a lifestyle for all mentality for your team. So there's no greener grass. You keep the best people if there's no greener grass. And ultimately a win for the doctor. Okay, that's the deal. And then I'll just finish with this. So I was traveling around with a gentleman named Dr. Raymond Choi. He was really the innovator of mini implants. Before anyone ever did all on X, they didn't know ABC from X. Okay, we were doing mini implants, and we shifted into implant supported dentures back before any of these companies existed.
Right.
When 3M bought MTech, Dr. Choi was put out on an island. He was the lead educator in the country.
Wow.
And he said, Scott, let's do something special. Let's create an advanced course only for people who want to drive cases. So I traveled for a couple of years with him to his mini implant seminars, and I would teach case acceptance and psychology. And I overheard a doctor say, I just can't wait till life after dentistry. And that was the moment for me when I heard, how could a doctor pour their entire life into their career, but they hate it so much they just can't wait to get out of it? There's something wrong here. So that's where I coined the dental practice shift lifestyle along the way, okay, so that you love it so much you never want to leave it. So that's the inspiration.
Why do you think, in your experience, it's so that these dentists, they spend all the time, fortune, become the profession, and then later on they're like kind of burnt out? From your experience,
Dr. Lou, you are a person who's you practice constant and never-ending improvement. You question the status quo. You stay curious. You're always looking for the slight edge. I love all of our doctors. Most of them, though, are put in a box. They're told to operate a certain way. And in their minds, okay, it's, even though we love to say it's about patients, it's really about procedures. Doctors come out of school, they're not thinking patient, they're thinking procedure. They're thinking X number of units. They're thinking transactional. So they get into this grind, okay? And by the way, they need next week's money to pay last week's bills.
right?
Okay? And some of that's loans, some of that's overhead, some of that's whatever. And so what we have to do is have that doctor step back, take a look at it and say, okay, look, there's lots of analogies in dentistry, roller skates, treadmill, whatever. But at the end of the day, we got to slow it down. We got to get control of the pace, and we got to return the order back to what a doctor signed up for in the beginning, okay, which was to make an impact on people. The number one thing the doctor will say is the art and science and a human impact. And so you can't do that when all you're thinking is grinding it out, procedures, transactions, insurance checks. You got to slow it back down. You got to return it to the patient focus, but also doing it in a way that's better for doctors. There's no industry where they can have leverage. You know this the same as I do. If you take any doctor, push pause right now on our world. Every dentist in America is seeing one patient in one room with one assistant at a time. Now, they might have lots of rooms. They might have other things going on. But in this moment, they're one patient. So how could some doctors struggle to do $100 an hour, and some doctors are doing $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 an hour? How could it be the same exact equalizer? One patient, one chair, one assistant, one doctor, and yet some people are doing 10x other people. Okay, and that's all comes back down to understanding the real dynamics, not the clinical, the tactical. You have to know that too, but understanding the dynamics of this business that we're in.
Wow, that's major. How does Scott Manning and your team, how do you actually approach this situation with somebody stuck in and they go like, hey, Scott, I need some help? Where would you start? I mean, this is such a multifactorial.
Yeah, well, listen, you are a humble guy. I listen to all your stuff. And, at the end of the day, though, you are a person who understands there's multiple things to master. The psychology, the profitability, okay, the team, obviously the culture, not to mention, we haven't even talked about the patient yet, the messaging, the marketing. So, I'm speaking to the master. Every doctor who is listening to Secure Dental Podcast, let me just tell you, is in the right place, because it's no BS. The fat is cut out. You're right down here to the core essence of what you need to be successful with. So they're smart to be listening, not to me, but to you. When I talk to a doctor, it's just like a patient, Dr. Lou. Okay, are we going to just triage problems? That's old news. That's past data. Okay, or are we going to look at the future? We're going to look at possibilities. We got to look at where this patient is headed. So for the practice, it's the same deal. I'm not interested in just fixing yesterday's problems. I want to look out and say, okay, what does optimal look like? Now, just because I know you told me before, this guy got to deliver some things people can use. So let me give you the simplest thing. I don't promise rocket science because nobody's going to implement it. Common sense, it will. Most people, if they diagnose comprehensively, which most don't, but let's just say they did, as soon as it leaves the room, they have sequenced their treatment plan and they've put a glass ceiling over their heads to limit the capacity and the value of their average visit. So what I say, just keep it holistic. Start with comprehensive, take a full view of the mouth, pillars of health. It's pretty simple. Gums, teeth, bite, smile, every patient, every time. And then you assess optimal, okay? Not negligence, optimal. Then when you move forward, you share with the patient everything you can do to help serve their future. That patient then gets an opportunity to say yes to the whole thing. In most practice today, the patient doesn't even get a chance to say yes to the whole thing. Now I'm talking to a full mouth, big case master here. So to you, this is old news. But most doctors, it's that hole you give through, the hole you receive through. Most people, they're starting too small to begin with. So we can fix a practice that's stuck just by bundling more things, moving from onesie, twosie to quadrant, moving from quadrant to half mouth, moving from half mouth to full mouth. Like it's not challenging. It's not about how you deliver dentistry. It's about how you discuss it. It's about how you diagnose it. It's about how you present it. And financially, which is what everybody would blame as to why their practice isn't more successful, is the easy part. Because money is the most flexible part there is. The health isn't flexible. It's principled. Okay? The money is flexible. Okay? So we have to learn that money is a tool and a vehicle, and we're giving patients a privilege to invest in themselves. It's not a cost or an expense. Who wants one of those? Okay? It's an investment in the greatest asset they have, which is their health. So where I start is where you already know. We have to look at the schedule. And, of course, everybody's going to say that, but not look at the schedule of how to make it busier. I'm looking at the schedule of how to slow it down, how to declutter it, how to open up opportunity.
Wow.
You know yourself in all of your practices. There's some people, they can't get a new patient in for 3 or 4 weeks, and yet they're stuck at a financial plateau They say, well, there's probably a reason. Okay? Or they say, well, I have somebody, they need 8 units across the front, some beautiful smile enhancement. They say, oh, well, we have no room. We have no room for a 2 or 3 hour appointment because it's filled with lots of little penny appointments. So how could this be? So what I say is make space in your life for what you want more of. Then consolidate, marginalize the things that are in the way of that. And that goes to a very simple principle we all know, but very few people live with, and that's the 80-20 rule. You have to make more room for the top 20% of all the things you want to do in your life, but certainly in your practice.
I'm always thinking this is more of a mindset problem, right? Because many of our dentists, we problem is, and I'll tell you from my own experience, it's we think way too small. That's number one. Number two is we get in our own ways, right? And that's, I think, where that scheduling conflict comes from. It's like we have this old conditioning. How much have you seen? I know you are shaking your head there, right? So how much have you seen in your career or your life? Like we dentists, we are always trying to block our own success.
Yeah. Well, look,
I was like that, by the way. That's an honest truth.
Well, listen, well, that's also why you continue to break through. We all have self-limiting beliefs. Some people have them and they're aware of them, and it's a lack of confidence, and it just keeps, it keeps coming up, getting you down. Some people have them, aren't aware of them, and they're subconsciously self-sabotaging. So no matter what, I agree with you 100%. The fact is we can fix the mindset and everything else pretty much will fall into place because we are, you're a doctor, I'm not a doctor, but we as entrepreneurs, as leaders in our world, we are the creators. We're the source.
Right.
So everyone wants to think that it's everybody else's problem they have to fix. It's really us because we're exponential. So the two biggest mindsets, which you really brought up, number one is lack of belief, not thinking big enough, selling yourself short. Okay, you use negative self-talk, head trash, everything you say you want, you then undermine. So belief is number one. Number two, though, is guilt. Is that, what if the patient thinks I just want the money? What if the team, what if they don't say yes? What if? So it's all this judgment, either judgment external or judgment internal. And so what I say is you got a guilt-free success. The more you are helping people, the more prosperous you will be. If you're not proud and excited to go all in on every patient, why should they be? Okay, so really, money follows confidence. Patient acceptance follows definitive, decisive doctors. So I agree with you. It really is mindset. Bigger thinking, bolder vision, more belief in self, what's possible, and wash away the guilt. Okay, and know you're doing good. And the more that people accuse you of things, say, why do you work so hard, or you shouldn't do that, or you're still doing this, or, why you always go to another seminar. You got to move all that naysaying negative energy out of your life. Okay? 'Cause you're on a bigger mission here. And you can't be looking at the flies. You got to be looking at the future.
Love it. Yeah. One thing I've noticed with a lot of dentists, we are really good with going for CE courses in dentistry, learning new skills, new techniques, but we never invested time in our own self, in our own personal development. What I think it's what you just said was you just nailed it in the head. Why do dentists, now this is a genuine question even I have because I ask my colleagues, why do dentists think sales is a bad thing?
Well, mostly because it's been beat into their heads. No doctor wants to feel like it's about the money. And what's very interesting, Dr. Lou, and you get this in your culture, I know that, is that by making it not about the money, we make it exactly about the money. When you think about patients, when you diagnose insurance, when you're trying to make it affordable, you're making it all about the money. When you make it about the patient's health, regardless of money, okay, we are now putting the principles in the right order and we're being flexible with the financials. Okay?
Love it.
And then let me just say the one other point that I think is really important you brought up is that a lot of doctors, they're somewhat insecure in their ego and they are afraid of what other people will think. So a doctor knows their intentions are pure, But everybody lives by the stereotype. Oh, doctor, you're finding more work in my mouth. You must need a new car. I get so tired of hearing those stupid sayings. Those are all doctors' little security blankets to protect their ego. Okay, you've got to get rid of that and know that what you are trying to accomplish for patients, you never sell them short. You have to go all in. The greater the investment, the greater the value in everything in life.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow. I got to ask you this year. What does success mean to you?
Well, I'm thank you for asking that. Success for me, very simply, I practice what I preach. So it is being at peace, having peace of mind, being in the present moment, not wishing I was somewhere else or my mind having to be where it isn't physically. Peace of mind, success for me, obviously quality time with family. I'm a family first person. I believe money is like a resource. It's gas in the car. You can have a beautiful car. That's a life. You can have a beautiful life. You can have a beautiful dental practice, all those things. Profit isn't the purpose, but it is the point. You have to have profitability because that is what allows you to fuel everything else, including helping others, giving back. So those are things for me, and specifically to what I do, because, I grew up in the martial arts as a master instructor, multiplication owner, and leader of leaders. And so for me, it's all about breakthroughs, human potential, helping people break through in their lives, the one life they've got, okay, to believe more, to achieve greater, okay, to never, stop short or settle. For me, that is, ultimately success.
Thanks for sharing that. I got a personal question. One last one for you. When you wake up in the morning, what makes you keep going?
Well, speaking to a family man, obviously very much my wife and daughter, but at the end of the day, I'll tell you this, Dr. Lou, because, I'm not going to put myself on your level. You're an amazing entrepreneur. The entire industry should be looking up to you. You're doing things that other people, they don't even understand, quite frankly. But when they look at it, you are creating something ahead of the trend, the model of the future, okay, for what is possible. But let me just say this.
Scott, only trying.
Well, yeah, there's that humble approach again. So I'll tell you what drives me. It's very simple. One of my favorite quotes is that when you look out at a true master of their craft, you cannot tell the difference between their work and their play.
Wow.
Okay, just what we do. This is what we do, my friend, isn't it? It's what we do. And so, I'm not a fan of people who want to be something else. I think if we're happy being us and we wouldn't swap out with anyone, then, we're living a good life. And so for me, that's it. And obviously, I'm ambitious minded. I think if you're not growing, you're dying, and all those things. But it's also this gift of life that we have. And the great Maya Angelou said that you get one life, but if you do it right, one is enough. And every day, it doesn't matter. Like an athlete, I call us life athletes. It doesn't matter if we won yesterday, we want to win tomorrow. And so you just got to keep that hunger and you got to embrace it.
Got to be hungry and winning all day. I love it. So how does a dentist find you?
Or your team? Thanks for asking. Yeah, sure. Well, we'll keep it simple. dentalsuccesstoday.com. I write books. I like to serve the industry. I'm not for everybody, that's for sure. But I love to give first, and people can be inspired or find opportunities, and it all just depends. Everyone is unique. Everyone's vision, definition of success, life is unique, just like every patient's mouth. You apply principles to every patient that are the same, but you're customizing each person as an individual. And for me, my doctors are my patients, and I'm doing the same for them. So dentalsuccesstoday.com is just the easiest place to go. I'm happy to send you my original book, The Dental Practice Shift, which started it all. And I would say that what I'm most known for, other than lifestyle practice, is what I call the 4 freedoms of dentistry. We have 4 freedoms in the practice: diagnosis, case acceptance, money flow, and schedule control. But in the business side, time freedom, okay, profit freedom, okay, insurance freedom, and obviously what we call team turnover, team freedom. And so if you have all these things, then really you're aligned to have balance, a harmony between your life in and your life out of the practice.
I love it. I love it. Well, Scott, thanks so much for coming in and sharing all your experience and your nuggets here. This was amazing.
Dr.
Any,
Lou, thank you.
do you have any last minute comments?
Yeah, well, yeah, I will just say, I will just say thank you. For me, the most important aspect of life is gratitude, and I'll tell you what, I'm filled with it for you here and for what you're doing. I love when people have someone they can look up to as to what's possible in dentistry, and it's just phenomenal. So. Thank you very much. And doctors, you're right to be here at the Secure Dental Podcast. I'm listening to Dr. Lou. And the bottom line is keep dreaming, fuel, and be on fire for your future. And, don't hold back. Okay. It's your vision to chase down and make happen.
All right, Scott, thanks so much again. And ladies and gentlemen, make sure to like and subscribe. We'll land the plane here. And again, Scott, thanks for your time.